Today we're speedrunning through every Hello Neighbor alpha, starting with the pre-alpha, and right away we go over to the neighbor's house since we see his door is glowing, but he captures us and puts us back in our house. Now we definitely want to go check out what's inside that door, so we're going to grab this radio and then start running by his house. We're then going to go over to this couch and take this crowbar that's for some reason on that, and then take the radio, turn it on, and place it by the house so the neighbor will get distracted by it. Now this makes the neighbor completely miss us as we just break and enter into his house, and we can come over and take his key to the basement door. Now the door takes a while to unlock with the key, but after that we can then take out the crowbar, use that, and then enter in the code 4785 to finally enter the basement and end off time. Next we have Alpha 1, and this speedrun starts out with a really weird and unskippable cutscene. Now you notice there's a car driving and there's also the neighbor trying to look at it, but the weird thing is there's no one driving the car, so the neighbor is going to act really suspicious, but to be fair, I would also be kind of freaked out because literally he goes and looks at it and there's no one there, so that's a little weird. But we finally gain control of our character and see that we have a list of things we need to do for our new house. So we're going to take the key, a couple boxes, we're going to go turn on the electricity, open our lock, and then finally enter our room. Then we can place all of our things and just sleep, and you know what, I feel a little bored, so might as well go explore my neighbor's house without any consent. So I'm going to open his front door, go in this door, and then we can take this hammer. That's going to be really important for later. After that, we can go up these stairs and see that he has a shark-infested room for some reason, which is kind of dangerous, but we ignore it. We can just keep going through, and all that's left to get from his house now is a lockpick. Now, one thing that's important to say about this speedrun is it is very luck dependent, depending on where the neighbor is going to spawn and just making sure he doesn't get you. So you do have to reset a lot of times, especially if you're trying to get a good time on this game. But luckily, we got a really good run right here. All we have to do is now open up this door, and then we can use the hammer to take off all of these nails. He really tried to keep me out of this basement, but I'm a very curious guy, so we can finally go and open it up. And after all this time, we can finally see what's in the basement, except the neighbor then comes by, slams the door shut, and then literally kills us. That's pretty sad. Our next speedrun is going to be in Alpha 2, where thankfully we could skip the opening cutscenes this time and go get this garbage can, put it on the fence, and then make a jump where we crouch in the air, which raises our hitbox and just barely allows us to get onto this ceiling. After that, we're going to want to grab this crowbar, which is kind of precise, but obviously we are going to need that. And for some reason, this dude has a hole in his ceiling, which works out perfectly for me because we can go in there and take the key card. You'll also see that we smash that window, which obviously allows us to get out, but it also makes it so that the neighbor goes and checks on what the noise is, which gives us the perfect amount of time to go and sneak right behind his back and then open his basement door. Now, once we go down here, you'll see that it might be a little creepy, but I don't have time to worry about that and everything that this might mean because we're just going to end off time as soon as we make it in this door. Now we have Alpha 3 and we can skip the first cutscene before going to the neighbor's house. And right away we're just kind of hoping that the neighbor isn't going to be in this hallway because of course he's always going to be spawned in a random place. Then from here we can make this jump, crouch jump so we make it over that railing and go in this door before doing another trick where we crouch next to this door and we can barely pick up this chair and then finally get this key card right there. That skips a nice section of the game and a fairly difficult platforming challenge, so I'm happy we have it. Now after this, we're going to jump on this railing and then jump up to this ladder. The ladder animation is really slow, so we want to get as much height before we get on the ladder so we can go a little bit faster before getting onto these tracks, and we're going to do a kind of precise jump all the way into this hole so we can finally get the crowbar that's in here. We also opened up that window with our chair so we can get out of there right away, and now all that's left is just hoping that the neighbor isn't going to catch us. And he got really close to catching me, and I'm really not sure where he was because we saw that animation, but regardless, we made it into the door and we got a really good run because we can finish it off right there as we see him crying. And finally, we're on to Alpha 4, which starts out with a 45-second unskippable cutscene. Now I'm actually going to speed this cutscene up for you just because it doesn't really show anything important, and trust me, I've watched through this cutscene way too many times, just ask my Twitch chat, but it shows you the town, shows you the neighbor's house, and finally, after staring at the door for way too long, we get a letter and we start the game. Now once we finally get the chance to actually play, right away we're going to want to grab 2 boxes and this key from our car. We're then going to throw one of the boxes at this window, which will hopefully alert the neighbor and make him more likely to place a trap there. After that, we're going to run over here with the other box and we're going to throw it right there, which, if we get lucky, will open this door by hitting a switch on the other side. And somehow I got it first try, which was actually insane, so this was looking like a really good run. But now it's time for some pretty difficult platforming. First of all, we want to head onto these tracks and use a box so we can get just enough height to be able to jump on this roof. Then from there, we can jump on this beam and make a kind of precise jump onto these tracks. After that, we want to get onto this large pipe and make another jump where we want to get onto this really small beam before making one more jump, and now we can make it into the double jump room. Oh yeah, also our red key is finally useful. Told you it would be eventually. So for the people who have never played Hello Neighbor, the double jump room is important because we need to be able to double jump to actually beat the game. Now, by doing a bunch of platforming, we're going to gain the ability to double jump, but it does take a little bit. You'll see that we're basically just making our way through the different shelves, and we have a couple different tasks like picking up this orange thing and knocking over this vase so we can keep going. After doing that, we have some just standard platforming that we have to do, just making our way around the different things, and right here we're going to want to take this path so we go on top of this door. After that, we want to jump over to this toaster, and this is one of the most annoying parts of the speedrun, because we have to line ourselves up very specifically, so we'll hit that wood and get the perfect angle so we get over into this area. Now, these objects are a little annoying to platform through, so it does take us a tiny bit of time, but once we make it up here, we can start grabbing these darts. These are going to be important in just a second, but before we get on to using those, we're going to have to use this paper airplane and travel across with it for just a little bit before we're close enough to the next shelf and we're able to make this jump. Now it's time for a tiny platforming section, and I mean, it's a pretty simple section. Pretty much all we have to do is go on this phone and also onto this VHS, and now it's time to use our darts. Now we want to put these darts in a way to where we can climb up with them, but I almost actually fell down, which I have done before, and it's literally the worst thing ever. But after that, it's just placing some different darts. I did make a mistake with this one because I placed it slightly too high. So yeah, we all get to enjoy me struggling for a while. That's great. But all we have to do is grab it and then replace it, and we're fine. Then after that, we have to make this one last jump, and in the middle of it, it gives us the option to double jump, and there we go. We finished the area. Now after that, we get a short little loading screen, but once we make it back, you'll see we were in the area that we were previously, and now it's just daytime. So we're going to want to climb up that ladder, and then we're going to want to make it all the way down here. Now normally that height would kill us, but because we have the double jump, we won't get damaged. And once we make it over to the door, we see that the neighbor set a trap just like we planned, and it's time for the trick that will make or break the speedrun. Now the neighbor does catch me there, but it doesn't really matter because it doesn't waste too much time to go back, and with all the RNG that's in this run, I'm not going to worry about it too much. But what we can do is we can place the trap right there, get glitched inside the wall, and now we're in the basement. So all that's left now is doing some platforming with our newly acquired double jump. But we aren't completely out of danger yet because the neighbor still can catch us while we're in the basement. I don't know how he makes these jumps, but you know, it's his basement. He probably knows a thing or two, I guess. But pretty much once we make it past the neighbor, we're home free. All we have to do is run past all of these halls and finally make it to the door, finishing out the speedrun. Alright, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.